welcome to what I think is a very special Brain Blast. A couple of different things we're going to do today. I'm going to read something and we're going to talk a little bit just about being within, just about the inner sense of us in relation to the curiosity approach, which I talk about. And it all really began when I was working with a client. And there's a variety of things. There's some corporate things involved in this. There's some family stuff. And what I actually found was that the family stuff and the corporate stuff, it was almost exactly the same. And it led me to that thought, yeah, we carry ourselves everywhere. And we tend to have the same frameworks of conditions, the same context at our work as we do at our home. Now, maybe our home problems have a different manifestation than the work problems. But when you actually look at them, quite often I find that they have the same drive, they have the same need, they have the same instability. And that is all centered around the context of you. And that is what I love about curiosity. Because curiosity is this incredible thing that enables you to move forward, enables you to take a step toward, or at least a lean toward it. It enables you to take you in a space beyond just the limitations of here and now. Now, we use mindfulness to be in the here and now and to try and free ourselves of all the negatives and the disturbances and the judgments and criticisms from the past and the fears and worries of the future. But once we've got ourselves centered, once we've got ourselves in the process of now, it's necessary for us to lean forward because now is so fleeting. We constantly need to be we're constantly leaning into the future. We're constantly finding the future in our present in such an amazingly short space. The future of what I'm going to say next is, well, next. And here it is again. Oh, I'm in the future again. It's very rapid, our movement. But it's so easy to just sit and get stuck in, I'm very calm, I'm very peaceful, I'm very joyous, I'm loving the world, but I'm actually not leaning into the future. So that's what the curiosity approach is added to mindfulness. And mindfulness is terribly important to get that frame so that you can then move in a curious frame. Very hard to move in a curious frame when you're stressed or upset or worried or fearful. And a mindful state is the perfect state to be when you move and lean forward with curiosity into your next adventure of the world. Anyway, I'm working with this chap, and it was fabulous. We're going great guns, and apparently it was very difficult to go great guns with him. And he was talking about reading bedtime stories to one of his children. And he said, oh, I know what it's going to be. I'm going to read the story, and then he's going to go and say, oh, read it again, Daddy, read it again. And I'm going to read this thing again, and it's just so boring. It was interesting. It reminded me of the Robin Williams being interviewed, the comedian Robin Williams, who sadly left us. And he said his children, when he would read them a story, said, Daddy, and there they are talking to one of the most famous voice artists and impressionists and comedians in the world. They said, Daddy, could we have Mummy read the story? Because you kind of do all the voices, and it's no fun for us. So I thought that was rather funny. And I thought, yeah, what happens with children? What happens with you? What is it about the book? What is it that takes us back to see something again? And we, after a couple of bits and pieces, we came to this lovely little catchphrase. Read the book new. Do the thing new. Experience this new. So we've got read the book new now becomes a little catchphrase we can use, but you might have your own. When you hug your child and say goodbye in the morning, okay, it's a routine. You get up, you have breakfast, you do this, you do that, you have a piece of toast, blah, 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 hug the child, kiss the wife or the husband or whatever it is, depending on the roles you're playing. And you sort of walk out saying, well, done all those things, picked up the keys, blah, blah, blah. But no, those human interactions, Let's make them real, because in that moment you have never hugged that person like that before, or kissed that partner like that before, or put your shirts on like that before. I'm wearing a shirt I've worn before. I've done it in brain blasts before. But it's different. It's new. And in that newness, in looking for and being curious about that newness, about that difference and that change, I'm leaning into the future. And I'm leaning from a stable, safe, comfortable state into the future, going, my familiarity is what helps me to stay stable, but that also enables me to see what is new, what is fresh, what is different, what is changed. And we did a little activity, and I just handed him some things, and I said, you took those things. Every time I did that, you took it differently. This hand, those fingers, then you changed hands, then you changed fingers, you did with the thumb, you did it with this. And I went, oh. And he said, you gave them differently. Sometimes your thumb was here, sometimes your thumb was there, sometimes you were this angle and that angle. So to some degree, he was saying the way he changed, the way he took the cards, was related to the change and the slight changes in the way I gave them. So our lives, that difference, that newness, that change, that variation can be very subtle. Perhaps that hug that you give your partner, they were just an inch further around, or just an inch bent in the knees, or just that head was a little bit to this side or a little bit to that side. Notice the newness, because in noticing the newness, you know you're in the future. You know you're moving forward, and you know you're engaging in something with greater changed possibility. And that possibility is what gives us the drive, what gives us the curiosity-oriented drive, that curiosity approach that I talk about. And when I was doing this, I just picked up a book. I was going to sort of do here's a book. I'll read a book new. Now, here's interesting. My children beautifully give me empty books because I'm a writer. Now, I've got a lot to fill in this book. But I looked on the first page, and there's a piece I wrote for my gorgeous Susie, my wife Susie, on her birthday in 2012. And I started reading. I thought, read the book new. Somewhere, I called it. There are only somewheres in a life full lived. Somewhere in my heart, somewhere in my mind, somewhere in space, somewhere in time. Where we are, we can, we do. For anywhere is the place unknown, unsure, untrue, where so many seek and wish and dream to be anywhere but here. But in my heart, in my mind, my space, my time, no matter where I am or what I feel or how I think, I am always somewhere because you envelop me. You are everywhere. So that place, that thought, that feeling, that moment is always you. So life is full lived, not because of what I seek or because of what I found, but because of where I am, always somewhere. And that place is you. Now, big touch there, bit of a nice poem. But that place is you, yes, to the partner, to the extrapolation. But that place is you, to the individual, to the energetic space you're in. And that space of you that is always somewhere is that somewhere that you can carry with you through time. That is your security. That is your mindfulness. That I am becomes the verb of your experience, and then there becomes specific experiences and detailed experiences. So, read the book new. Every day, every moment. It's changed. It's different. And that newness is the springboard to believe and entertain and sometimes grasp possibilities that were not known whilst you were stable and settled. Be stable, be settled, lean into the future, read the book New, and embrace and engage in possibilities that you had not yet imagined. Bit of a philosophical brain blast this time. Not so much neuroscience, but I hope a beautiful set of inner science. I'm going to have to take a pause. I think I'll have a cup of coffee now. Thank you so much. I've got to think about this one. This was fun. Take care. We'll see you next time. Bye.